Hello everyone, you're welcome. This is Kingsley from KingspetDesigns. If you're just joining me for the first time, please ensure you subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit on the notification bell so that you get notified each time I upload new video. Welcome to this series of tutorials where I have been showing you how to actually work with all the Elementor Pro elements. You can see we first of all started from the navbar to the sliding animated. On this particular one, I'm going to be showing you how to work with the price table. So now I'm going to be showing you how to insert your price table, how to work with them and format it very well. So now I'm going to be adding a new layer here. I'm going to make this a new layer, adding a new layer here. So I'm going to this layer, I'm actually going to make it for now. I'm actually going to make use of a single. For now, I'm going to make use of a single column. So now I'm going to make it a single column. So I'm going to bring in my price table over to this particular place. So now this is how it's actually going to look like. This is my price table. But now, if you actually notice on my price table here, I'm actually going to click on here and duplicate it. So I'm going to duplicate it to make it 2 and duplicate it again to make it 3. So I now have 3 price tables here. So now I'm going to actually start styling, working, showing you how to edit one of these. I can still make it 4 in case I want. I might decide I want to make my price table 2, 3, or 4. I think for now I'll think okay, let me just make it 4, let's see, or 3, and make it 4, adding another one so you see how it looks like. So this is how it's actually going to look like. But I can decide to stretch it and maybe shift it to this other side. But I'm going to remove one. Let's just make use of 3 and see. So now I'm going to now remove one of them so that I'll have enough space for this. So now what I'm now going to do on our text now, I'm going to work on one of them. Then after working on one of them and I'm okay with the way it is, I'm now going to duplicate it into the rest of them, then change some few things on them. So that is what I'm actually going to do now. You can see this, as I brought in this price table, it actually came with some default, some tools there for me, some format things already on it. So now I'm going to first of all start with maybe a plan. I can decide to name it anything. Let me just pick from what I think, what I have here. And before, I think I have something like that before here. Okay, now let me say, okay, I actually forgot I was supposed to have something like a title on it, so I can still do that on this particular one already. I actually didn't. Also, now let me just do something now. I'm going to now just remove what I have here. I'm going to delete this and delete this. So we now have it as one column. So now what I'm now going to do now is to I'm going to do this and have my one column. So now what I'm going to now do, I'm going to bring in my text. Let me say my heading, then my text. I'm going to bring in my text and paste it here. So this serves as like the heading, then this the description. Then after that, I'm going to bring in inner section, so inner section. So I'm going to bring in my inner section, then copy this. I'm going to now copy this. Remember, I can just bring it from there, but since I already have it, I'm going to just copy it and paste it so I cannot delete this. So I don't need this anymore. So I'm just going to duplicate this into 3, then delete this side. So that's just what I'm having right now. So now I'm now going to copy. Let me say is the heading. I'm going to copy the heading, come over to where I have it on my heading here. I'm going to paste my heading here. So now I'm going to on the headings, I'm going to make it to be at the center. It should come from the center. Then I'm now going to on this the body. Okay, let me say this is the text. Already I have a text there, so I can just leave this. Let me just replace it with what we have there before. So now I'm going to also make this to actually flow from the center. It should come from the center. So now I'm going to now do something. I can just style it. Let me just quickly do some styling on this text, although my main key aim is not actually on this particular ones here now. Let me just head over to what we are going to do today. So I'm going to now, okay, basic plan. We have the basic plan. Then I'm going to insert it here. The title has my basic plan. We have it as basic plan. Then I can decide to have a description. Now on this particular one I don't have description. So it's actually of your choice. Your basic plan might decide to have, you might decide to have your description for it. You might decide not to have a description. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm actually going to remove the description. I actually don't need the description on this for this particular one I'm actually working with. So now I can decide to now make use going to down over to the pricing section. When you come to the pricing section, I can set how I can now set my currency. I can decide to choose the currency I actually want to make use of. Like for example, I can decide to make use of euros. I can decide to make use. I'm going to leave it as dollars. Let me make use of dollar for this particular tutorial. So actually, the price, it actually has some default price here. So I'm actually going to change my price. Let me say I want to change it to something like $89. Let me say $89, or let me make it $85. Let me say $85. Now if I don't want to have anything like points, like you can see now this is actually $85.99. So now actually $89.99. So now I'm actually going to now remove this. I can actually remove it entirely from it. Now to actually insert that, if I should insert 99 like this, it actually won't work. For me to have that 9 on going to the top, I have to enter full stop. So once I enter full stop, it's actually going to take it as a decimal. So it takes it to the top. So now that is how default the way this particular one is. So now actually now going to, you can set your currency format. How do you want your currency format to actually look like? That is it. If you want it this way, you can leave it like this. But I don't want it this way. I want it to be the default settings. So now, if you were actually running something like sales, you can actually select this. Maybe you can say, okay, initially this was actually $100, or let me say this was actually a $99 initially, but right now I'm giving it out at $85. So you can actually set the price, the sales price if it were, but let me just leave mine like this. It's not actually on, is on sale price. So now actually, is it this price, is it like a subscription, is it monthly, yearly, or is it weekly pay? So you can actually set how you want it to be. So I can say this is yearly pay. Let me say it's $85 weekly. I might decide for it to be weekly, or I might decide for it to be, okay, let me leave it as default monthly. I'm going to leave it as monthly, so I can set it any to anything I want. So now I can now come down to where I have my futures. Then on the futures now, these are what we refer to as the futures. On the futures now, I can now select what I want to be here. So I can come here on the list. Here is where I'm going to insert the item. So I can say on the futures here, I'm having something like, I can see I will pick this. I'm going to say free active for young people. So I can say this now. This for the second one, and for the third one, I'm having this. So let me just show you something. You can see as if it is actually scattered, and I can actually change the bullet if I don't want, or I can actually remove the bullet. Let me say I don't actually need the bullet. Okay, I can. Let me say I want to change the bullet. I can change it to whatsoever I want. So I can actually change this bullet to whatsoever bullet I want. Maybe I want this, I can just insert it and it's going to replace what I'm having there. But I don't want any bullets on it, so I'm going to remove all the bullets on each and every one of them. So I'm going to remove the bullets from them. I don't want them to have any bullets. So I'm going on the third one, I'm going to remove the bullets also. So now you can see these features, this. So I'm going to come over here on, let me see. You can see it's actually a kind of aligned to the center. If you see, it's vertically aligned. So now coming to, let me say these are the features I want to add here. Or let me just come over here. Let me say this was my description. I can decide to copy, since I have the description there. I'm going to just copy it and insert my description on the header. Just insert my description there and see the description there. So let me come to the footer, where this is where we refer to as the footer. Now on this footer we can have this footer here. This is the elements. You can decide to, now on this my own, this one here, there was no footer on it. You can actually decide either to put a text on the footer, or you can decide not to. So I'm going to remove it. I want it to be blank. So now on the ribbon, it's actually, do you want this is the ribbon, do you want to have something like a ribbon on it? And this one you might want it, I don't want a ribbon on it, I want a ribbon on it. So it's actually the ribbon position this side, or should it be this side? So the text, in case you want any text, you can say best offer. Let me say best offer. You might decide to use that, or you might decide anything you want to use. So you can actually use anything you want to actually use there. But for the sake of this tutorial, this is we are actually going, this is what we have. So now I'm going to now head over to where we have our style. So once you come to style, now I can style on the header. You can the same way I work on them differently on different, the same way I'm going to style it. So I can have my header background color. I can give it any color I want, and I want, on the sake of this tutorial, I want to use something like this. I'm going to add this color. So I'm going to, if you, I want padding, if I need a padding under it, you can see I can actually set my padding I want. Let me say I want to give it a 10% padding on both sides. I want to make it 15. Let me say 15, or better, let me say 20. So think 20 on every side. I think this is what I'm going to be using. So now I'm actually going to make use of on the title now. That's on the title of the header. I'm going to, might want to change the color of the text, but I'm going to still leave it like that. You can decide to increase the size of the text or reduce the size, your choice. But I'm actually going to, I think the default size was okay for me. Then I can, you can still decide how you want it to be, how you want the text to actually look like. You want it all in capital letter, you can actually select the way you want it to be. So it's all left for you. So I can just walk around, set up your thing the way you want it to be. So I'm going to leave mine just the way it is. Then the subtitle, now you can decide to also style this the way you want it to be. You can see how it changes over here. So now coming to the pricing area, I'm also going to style the pricing area. I want it to be this color, this blue, and I want the styling area. Do I want to give, that's the pricing area, do I want to give it a background? Do I want it to have its own background? No, I actually want it to come with a default background. I think the default background was okay for me. Or let me just see, I can decide to give it, let me see, if I give it this, and let's see, make it with transparent, this, let me add this. Okay, I think this is okay. Now this is for this, and the pricing, still on the pricing. Now that's for the background. I'm going to decide to give it padding. I'm going to still leave the padding the way it is. So coming to the price now, you can now see the currency symbol. Do I want to increase the size of the currency symbol? or do I want, so you can actually set how you want it to look like. Let me say this is okay for me, 45. Let me say 45 is okay. Do I want the currency symbol by this side or by the left? I want mine by the left. Do I want, how do I want the position? It's actually at the top. Do I want it center aligned or do I want it on bottom? So I can decide to make it center aligned, but I prefer to let it be the default at the top. So now the fraction, how do I, the fraction size, how do I want the fraction size to be? I think like this is okay for me. What, let me make it 45 also. So now I can decide to make it either center, down, or top. So I'm going to make it top. So now on the period, that's the monthly. Now I'm going to set it, give it the same blue color. I'm going to give it the same blue color. So the position, it should be beside, maybe beside. So you are going to set how you want it to be. You want it, okay, let me say for mine on this particular tutorial, I actually want it to be beside. You can decide for it to be below it like this, but I'm going to use beside for this particular one. Then you can actually set the style of the font, the size of the text, how you want that particular size to be. But I'm going to leave it the default size. So now I'm going to now go ahead, head over to where I have the features. Under the features now, I'm going to add a, might decide to still add a different background for the features, but I'm going to still make use of the same background with the other one, the one at the top here. So I'm going to make use of the same background as I said. Now I'm going to now head over to where I have my padding now. I'm going to still leave it like that since it's the same background, it actually blends. So now I'm going to polish text, align the text. I'm going to make use of a vertical for the text, then size. I can decide to increase the size. Let me make use of something like 16 and see. I think 16. I think I'm okay with 16. Now I'm going to now make use of something like, okay, now the text color. I can decide to change the text color to something black or probably make use of the blue. I think I can make use of, let me make use of this blue. So now this is my text I'm having here. So now I'm now going to, I can decide to make the text to either flow from this side or to flow from the center or from the right. So actually it depends on what you want. I think what I have here was flowing from the left, so I'm going to still leave this one from the left. I might decide to add the bullets to it. I can just go back to my add the bullet, but I'm actually going to leave it this way since I actually have something like lines. I want to insert something, a divider. Now we have it, we have a divider here over here, so I can decide to change the color of the divider to something that is going to appear very well. So I can decide to make use of this blue as my divider. So I can decide to make use of that blue, then I can decide to the width of it. I'm going to make it 1. I want it to be very tiny, so I'm going to add. Now let me come to where we have our padding. Now I'm going to remove this padding, unlink it, then come to where the bottom I want to add some, but you can see it's too close to this side because I then given this particular side a different color, so it's too actually too close. I'm going to add some padding at the bottom. So let me say something like 25 at the bottom. Now that's for this particular one. So now I'm actually now going to go to where I have my divider. Now I can do the gap, the width, so I can, the width I want to make it full width. So or must, let me make it, reduce it a little. I think like this is okay. Let me make it from here. 90 is okay, or let me say 85. How 85 goes. I think 85 is okay for me. I'm going to make use of 85 for this. So you can just style it how you want yours to actually be like. So now I'm not going to head over. You can see this gap. You can decide to the gap in between them. So I'm going to leave it at 15. So now I'm going to now head over to where our footer. Remember, we we didn't actually add any footer to it, any write-up on the bottom here. So now that is where, so now coming to our button, we don't actually, okay, now background of our footer, I'm going to make use of this. I want this to be my background. So now I'm actually now going to, on the button, now I'm going to play with the button. So now on the button, on the background of the button, I want the background of the button to actually be, let me say, white. I want it to be white with the text color to be blue. So this is how I want my button to actually look like. So now you might actually want to use a different thing entirely. You might decide to use maybe something like this. Let me say, okay, on the background, okay, background, let me say is white. Background, let me say is white. Now on the text, I'm going to make it blue. Then come on the typography, I'm going to make the weight of the, I'm going to add the weight of the text. So now this is how actually I want this particular place to actually look like. Now actually try your own, how give your own concepts the way you want it to actually look like. I'm just actually showing you some brief how you can actually style your price list to actually look like. So now I'm going to, from there now I'm going to the size, work on the size of your text of your button, whether you want it big or I'm going to make it small, I'm going to make it medium. I'm going to leave mine as medium. So you can actually work on all those things. Do I want to add something like a border to the bottom, or and just do this the text padding, how you want the padding between the text. So the ribbon is actually the ribbon. You can set the color for the ribbon. I can decide to make use of this color for my ribbon, or make use of this color for my ribbon. So I'm actually going to, for this particular one, actually going to make use of something that is going to shout. I need something that will shout out. Okay, I think this is okay. So I'm going to make use of this color for the ribbon, and for the text inside of it is going to be pure. I can select a different color from what I'm having there, but I'm going to make use of white for the text. Now I can decide to increase the distance. You can see the distance. I can decide to make it this way for the distance. Let it be like that. Now I'm going to now make use of, on the typography, I can set the text, how the text inside looks like. Just can decide to add a text, the shape border. I'm going to leave it the shadow, I mean. So now from here I'm actually going to just leave this. This is how I want my to actually look like. So now I'm going to now duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate this into one, two. So now this are what I have. Now I'm going to now delete this. I'm going to delete this and also delete this. So now I'm actually now going to start bringing in my other features here. So I can just bring in this and place it here. We have this as my head or the heading. This is my care plan. Let me say this is its own description. So I can decide to, in the description, I decide to add its own description. So I'm going to make it so that it doesn't be too long. Education program. And just copy from here and paste. I want it to not be too long, so I'm just going to, so now bring this for this third one, going to paste it here. So now the third one is going to be super care. So I'm going to now paste it here, super care. Now let me say this is the best one that should carry, because if you look at it, is all of them are not the best offer. Now I'm going to now, on this particular one, now I'm going to go to the ribbon and remove the ribbon. I'm going to, on the ribbon, I'm going to come to the ribbon and deactivate the ribbon for this, and also come to this one also, ribbon, and deactivate the ribbon for this. Then on this one I might come to the ribbon and this, let me return it back to the popular. So this is actually the popular one that people are actually buying. So I can this anyway now look serve as my popular. I can now change the price. Let me say this one, its own price is actually, let me say 125. Let me say it's 125.99 per month. While on this other one, let me say the price is actually 185, or let me say 195. Let me say that's how the pricing is 295. Okay, let me say 295, and let me say this other one should be, its own pricing should be 289. So let me just say this is how it is actually. So you can just pick, so maybe this is the one that is actually, you can just set up how you want yours to actually look like. But for the sake of this tutorial, this is how I want to leave mine to actually look like. So if I should save this, if I should update this and just preview my website, let me say I'm going to preview this particular page again. So I think this is the page. So let me preview it so that you see how it looks like. And see, when I preview, it's going to refresh. So if I should scroll down to my website now, you are going to see this pricing that I actually inserted here. So this is how I actually made mine to actually look like. So you can actually just try out some concepts yourself. You can actually make it much more beautiful than what I actually have here. I'm just actually trying to rush and show you how to actually make use of all these things there, particular to style your website the way you want it to be. If you're still watching this video and you've not yet considered subscribing to my channel, please hit on the subscribe button and click on the notification bell so that you get notified each time I upload new video. So I believe this is where I'm actually going to just come over here. I'm going to add some padding to this. I'm going to add some padding. Let me say 50 on all sides. Then maybe I'm going to give, sorry, prompting me to log in, so just going to log in. So now I'm going to now maybe add something like a background color. I might want to add something like a background color to all of this side. So it's actually left for me. I can decide to add a background color to it. So I might want it to be like this. You can see what we have here. So you can just play along with all this in the way you want it to be. I believe this is where I'm actually going to stop for this tutorial. You can actually work on yours and make yours very beautiful than what I'm actually having here. So if you enjoyed this video and you you have any video idea you want me to actually work on, you can actually put it on the comment box below. I'm going to try my best to see how to answer and bring a solution to that request. Actually, I'll be glad to know the location of where you are actually watching this video from. So you can kindly just comment your location on the comment box below so I'll actually know where you're actually watching my video from. I'll be glad if you do that. Until next time, this is where I'm going to stop. Bye for now.